Kia ora, good evening. I'm Hannah Wilkins. An international charity linked to a popular fast food chain is opening a new multi-million-dollar facility in Dunedin, but it won't be for eating. It was confirmed last week that a Ronald McDonald House will be built near the city's new hospital, despite earlier pushback from Te Whatu Ora Southern.
This Dunedin building will be getting a major revamp as it switches uses from a construction company to a well-known health charity. On Thursday night, it was confirmed that this Anzac Ave building is set to be converted into a Ronald McDonald House, a facility which aims to help keep families together while their children are in hospital. The announcement was made at a supper club auction at the Dunedin Town Hall, guests digging into their pockets to pass the initial fundraising goal, with the event raising more than $280,000 for the Ronald McDonald House charity.
It takes away all that day-to-day business stuff so they can focus on their child. We focus on their needs, they focus on the child in the hospital.
Howard says they're hoping to provide up to 20 rooms at the Dunedin facility, but are still working with the hospital to assess demand. It's still to be decided whether the building will be refurbished or completely demolished to make way for a new build, but Howard says it will be a multi-million-dollar project.
Build a facility that not only meets the needs of those families, but meets the high standards of compassionate hospitality that we're known for, and also a facility that Dunedin can be proud of.
Ronald McDonald House is supported by fast food chain McDonald's as an independent charitable organisation. It's set to take ownership of the Dunedin building in December, with a timeline for its development still to be finalised. In Dunedin, the South today.
A major project's in the pipeline for East Christchurch as the City Council looks to replace an earthquake-damaged bridge. Project Gateway to New Brighton aims to help improve traffic flow in the area as the council calls for public submissions on the multi-million-dollar vision.
New Brighton's lifeline. The Christchurch City Council is calling for public submissions around a proposal to replace the earthquake-damaged Pages Road Bridge. The vision, titled Gateway to New Brighton, includes the replacement of the bridge, as well as various changes to surrounding streets and intersections. The entire project is estimated to cost $65 million. The new bridge would include one lane for eastbound traffic into New Brighton, and 2 lanes for westbound traffic out of the seaside suburb. The aim of the plan is to significantly improve traffic flow in and out of the area, particularly during emergency evacuations. The original Pages Road Bridge was constructed in 1931 and served as the primary access route to New Brighton. However, it suffered significant earthquake damage during the 2011 earthquake, requiring short-term emergency repairs. The new bridge will be built slightly north of the existing one, allowing the current bridge to remain open while the new one's under construction. This is expected to take up to 2 years, with the old bridge being demolished after that. Additional funding needed for the project is due to be discussed as part of the Council's 2024-2034 long-term plan. In New Brighton, the South today.
A Dunedin rest home is in high spirits, celebrating a major milestone in the long run of COVID-19 restrictions. Emotions were high at the Radius Fulton rest home this week after the Ministry of Health announced that all mandates would finally be lifted.
It's an end to COVID-19 restrictions, and it's all smiles at the Radius Fulton rest home. It was a sea of unfamiliar faces at the care home on Tuesday, as staff turned up to work without their face mask on for the first time in over 3 years. Facility manager Lisa Ginge says it was lovely to finally walk through the ward mask-free, as caregivers were given a warm welcome from the rest home occupants.
They cried out in joy really this morning. It was surreal coming through the lounge, and they were cheering and cheering the staff on for all their hard work really and keeping themselves safe by wearing the mask so long.
87-year-old resident Lorraine Richardson was overjoyed to finally see everyone's faces, holding back tears as she took in everyone's smile.
All the staff have been wonderful though. They really have. I wouldn't have been here if it hadn't been for the staff.
Being able to communicate with their face and voice is an integral part of a caregiver's job, with the masks leaving some residents struggling to understand what they're saying.
When you take a mask off, you see a full face and the expressions come out and everyone seems a lot more alive and happy.
Radius Fulton rest home staff say the risk of COVID-19 will always remain, But for now, they're enjoying being able to interact with the residents without restrictions once again. In Dunedin, the South Today.
Vegetation around Lake Hayes is starting to look very different as a major project gets underway to remove willow trees from the area. But the lakefront won't be left barren, with the community preparing to plant more than 100,000 native trees as their replacement.
It's out with these introduced willows and in with native plantings. A major project is underway to restore the northern Lake Hayes foreshore to its former glory. The plan is to remove these large willow trees from the area, replacing them with 150,000 native plants. Charitable Trust Manatahuna is leading the 3-year project. CEO Michael Riwi says the willows are a monoculture, which don't allow native plants to grow around them or native animals to thrive.
All this willow that's been chopped down, the majority of that's going to be processed into firewood, and then we've done 7 tonne to date and we're going to be doing a lot more.
Southland MP Joseph Mooney says the current site is a bit of an eyesore, but he believes this project will improve conservation of the environment and may even help boost the tourism industry.
And a really important thing for New Zealanders more generally, and it's really important as well for like our tourism industry, which is huge for this area and for New Zealand. You know, I think it's the second most photographed lake in the country.
Some of the willows close to the lake foreshore have been poisoned but not removed, so nesting birds still have shelter while the native vegetation grows. The first spring planting session is planned for mid-September, as the team works towards their goal of restoring the lakefront over the next 3 years. In Queenstown, the South Today.
A Dunedin church is back chopping for charity after their log splitting machine was stolen earlier this month. The incident put a halt to the church's firewood donation program, but the community's now returned the favour in lending out a helping hand.
Back to splitting timber, the Dunedin City Baptist Church isn't letting a recent theft stop them from doing good. The church recently had their log splitters stolen off their grounds in Concord. The stolen machine was used to provide families in need around the area with firewood, keeping their homes warm over the winter season. Church caretaker Malcolm Cohen was amazed at the response from the community, receiving multiple donation offers, with one man even offering to buy them a new machine.
It's a nice response. We're a church, we're giving away the wood for free, and it's given us a lot of pleasure to bless people with a load of firewood.
A local has since loaned the church their splitter for a week to allow them to continue on with their good deed. Cohen says there's been a lead in the investigation on the theft, but insists nothing concrete has come of it yet.
Maybe the person might see the light and decide that, I think I've done something rather bad here, I think I'll take it back.
The Dunedin City Baptist Church is grateful for the response from the community regarding the stolen log splitter, but are still holding out hope the machine will be returned. In Dunedin, the South Today.
Whai Yakane, still to come on Southern Newsweek. 2 Southland High School students are getting a sweet taste of business while helping out diabetics. And usually reserved for the low-lying flat pockets of New Zealand, curling goes high altitude at Cadrona. Tēnā koe, welcome back. A start-up business by 2 James Hargest College students is on the rise, along with their blood sugar. The pair have created a fast-acting glucose recovery gummy, which helps ward off sugar lows for diabetics at a much faster pace.
These 2 young entrepreneurs from James Hargest College have cooked up a recipe for sweet success. Tess McGregor and Abigail Bragg have created passion fruit flavoured glucose gummies, candy treats that provide a speedy solution for type 1 diabetics. McGregor's a diabetic herself and saw the opportunity to address what she says is an unmet need.
So when I go low, I tend to go low quite fast and drop rapidly, which causes like headaches and like I feel spaced out and I can't concentrate in class. So I needed something that can like boost me up higher so I can get back into class without losing any learning.
Each gummy contains almost 6 grams of sugar, and McGregor's found they work significantly faster for her than the usual jelly beans, reducing what's often a 10 to 20 minute delay to as little as 5 minutes. The friends using that performance as inspiration when choosing a punchy name.
Hit me.
Yeah.
Their first batch quickly sold out and gained a lot of positive feedback. Hit Me is continuing to gain traction, attracting interest from several local businesses.
I feel like it's good validation that like my idea is actually worth something, because obviously it's hard going into the market when there's already stuff on the market that people use. So it's just getting that like validation that people are actually enjoying this and like using them.
The girls are also giving up with their new business, donating $1 from each purchase to Diabetes New Zealand. The pair are being supported by the Young Enterprise Scheme, and their taste for success has impressed their business studies teacher.
What they've done is they've come from a problem and thought about a solution, and then they've generated a business around that. So that makes it meaningful for them. They've got buy-in and they've got an original idea, so I think that's fantastic.
Tess says the extra energy boost from the gummies has meant she's able to spend more time in class, and believes they would prove just as beneficial for others in the diabetes community. In Invercargill, the South Today.
When you think of the snowy mountain of Cadrona, you'll probably imagine skiing or snowboarding. But another sport has taken to the ice on the mountain tops, with curling players testing their skills at high altitude.
Making the most of a white winter's day in central Otago, these curlers are brushing up their skills, taking part in the Curling at Altitude competition. Those involved say it's the biggest outdoor curling event of the year. The icy contest's being held at the Southern Hemisphere Proving Ground in the Cadrona Valley, an exclusive event featuring invited curling teams from around the region.
We're from Mount Ida Club in Naseby. Initially formed 1867, one of the oldest clubs in the country. What's happening? Hang on.
This area of the mountain range is usually used for commercial car testing. The Southern Proving Grounds only allows this special competition 1 day a year. The curling clubs were given just 2 days' notice to assemble teams for the tournament, around 120 keen sports people hitting the ice for the big day out.
And then at the end of the day we'll have our prize giving and then go down to our club rooms down in the valley and just have a quiet sausage and a scotch. And that's what the day's about.
It's the first time the event's been able to be held for almost 4 years. The central Otago weather putting on a good show for this premium event. In the Cadrona Valley, the South Today.
Wintry fashion was showcased in central Otago last weekend as a popular local event made a triumphant return. The Wool On Fashion Show hit the runway in Terrace for what could be the last time, with the event's future location hanging in the balance.
Being a sheep usually means you are following the crowd, but these sheep-inspired garments will tell you otherwise. The annual Wool On creative fashion event returned in central Otago over the weekend, after being cancelled due to uncertainties with COVID-19 last year. The fashion show requires the garments to be made of at least 75% wool in an effort to celebrate the merino fibre the region is known for.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible to have this here in this part of the world, and yeah, small town central Otago, so yeah, it's really great.
A wide range of designs were strutted down the runway at the 2-day event, with entrants ranging from fashion students to seasoned designers. But it was Central Otago local Jane Avery who managed to take out the Supreme Award, also claiming People's Choice on both nights with her beaded merino felt collection titled Heartfelt.
Yes, I'm thrilled. Yes, it's amazing to see such a wonderful result for my coats.
The Wool On Fashion Show has become a must-see on the Central Otago calendar, with the popular event starting to outgrow its shell.
Our audiences are pretty much filling up the capacity of this room, so we can't really go any bigger here, but we would like to go bigger.
Organisers are unsure where they will host the event next year to cater for its growth, but aren't ruling out returning to the canyon at Terrace Vineyards for its beautiful Central Otago backdrop. In Terrace, the South Today.
Some of Otago's top rugby players traded the city for a taste of rural life, tackling some farming activities in Balclutha. The NPC side is looking at a different approach in an effort to bounce back from the team's loss against Wellington last weekend.
The challenge of sharing sheep, these rugby players watching how it's done at the Landels family farm in Lochindaub. 16 players from this year's Otago NPC rugby team took part in a range of activities, including ram crutching, putting up electric fences and backing trailers between cones. Co-captain Sam Gilbert says it was a great opportunity for the players to get out and experience something new as a group.
Some of the boys get out here, get their hands dirty, get their knees dirty, and get stuck into a few things that I guess put them out of their comfort zone is a pretty cool opportunity. And to do it as a group is really cool as well. Learn a bit about each other, and I think it makes us stronger on the field.
A few local farming experts were there to give the rugby players a hand, teaching the team the basics and showing how it's done. But some players found that watching the professionals do it may be a lot easier than doing it yourself.
We've just done the ram drag, me and Nathan, so it was new for Nathan, and it was good experience for him. I think I might have hurt my tricep dragging a few out, but it was good fun.
The Otago players hope the farming experience will elevate their team spirit and bond as they set their sights on their next game against Hawke's Bay this Sunday. In Lochindaub, the South Today.
It was a big day for under-14 rugby in Southland last Saturday as the region's top two teams battled it out in the final. Gore High School and Central Southland College went head-to-head for the 2023 title, the tough match going down to the wire.
Gore's Jose Pascoe making a break for the try line as he leaves his opponents in the dust. It was a hard-fought battle on the rugby field on Saturday as Gore High School faced off against Central Southland College in the region's under-14 final. Both teams gave it their all during the 60-minute match, Central Southland scraping a win by 5 points at the final whistle.
I thought it was pretty close right from the start. We made a few mistakes, but we bounced back, and then it all came down to the wire. It was pretty tight.
Gore coach Richard Pascoe says the teams were evenly matched, his team having bet Central Southland College by a converted try earlier in the season.
Yeah, we gave it everything. We all really wanted it. But just wasn't there in the day, I guess.
A large crowd turned out despite the miserable Southland weather. Pascoe admits the wet conditions made the game harder for the players, but he was proud of how they worked together. In Gore, the South Today.
FI Yakane still to come on Southern Newsweek. A Southland teen with an International Taekwondo Championship podium finish prepares for its next. And luge speedsters let off some steam in Central Otago. Tēnā koe, welcome back. Sporting success is continuing in Southland, with an Invercargill teenager taking third place at an International Taekwondo Championship. Now, teenager Noah Smith is back home and training hard for his next big competition.
Invercargill's Noah Smith is putting in the legwork to try and become the best in his sport. The 16-year-old Taekwondo athlete has already represented New Zealand overseas, winning bronze in Australia recently, after coming third in the Oceania Taekwondo President's Cup. The event's one of the main competitions for Oceania athletes, and a crucial opportunity to gain significant world ranking points.
Yeah, it's a big honour to represent New Zealand and Southland, and you get noticed for it everywhere, so it's nice.
Taekwondo's been a part of Smith's life for as long as he can remember. All of his brothers do it, and both of his parents are black belts in the sport. He says he's been practicing since the age of 6, currently training 3 times a week at XL Performance Taekwondo, along with putting in extra work at home.
When I'm training, I'm really happy, and especially when I'm travelling and going overseas, getting the experience, it's just always fun, especially when you have your family and friends there, always having a fun time.
The teenager competed in Tahiti last year, achieving third place in 3 competitions, but he admits the Oceanias were the most nerve-wracking of the lot. The President's Cup medal was Smith's best result yet, and his Taekwondo master believes it's a good stepping stone for his development.
We don't have the competition or the numbers like they do overseas, so for us to get over there, it's sort of invaluable, the experience on the mat, and to have that time on the mat with the top athletes is really important.
Smith's now focused on next year's Junior World Champs in Korea, another step on his dream of one day scoring a spot at the Olympics. In Invercargill, the South Today.
Speed and control were the main focus for some races in Central Otago last week, taking part in a national luge competition.
Competitors speeding down a slippery ice track, going for glory at this year's New Zealand Luge Naseby Cup. Luges from across the country ventured south to take part in the competition at the weekend, which was held at the new Manitoto Adventure Park. The Naseby Cup is a 3-race series held every winter. The overall winner across each of the 4 categories gets to claim the Naseby Cup. The event was staged just a day after the Naseby Ice Luge track officially became part of the expanded adventure park on Saturday. It's the only refrigerated outdoor ice track in the world, and the only one of its kind in the Southern Hemisphere. Maggie Dowling clinched victory in the senior women's category, with Flynn Coburn claiming the title in the senior men. In Naseby, the South Today.
Hundreds of people put their dancing shoes on over the weekend, demonstrating their skills with a surprise performance alongside Queenstown's waterfront. The Jive and Thrive Flash Mob was the finale to a weekend of workshops, parties and performances.
This flash mob along the Queenstown waterfront is drawing a crowd on Sunday morning, wrapping up the 3rd annual Jive and Thrive this weekend. The street dance in the middle of the resort town is only the finale of the weekend-long event, with over 100 dancers and instructors coming together from across the country for rehearsals, workshops and nights of dancing.
Had dancers come from all over the country, over 100 dancers, and we've been doing workshops, performances, a fun competition. It's very inclusive, very good fun, and we had free classes for the community as well, and we were all raising money for Headlight, a mental health charity here in Queenstown.
Jive and Thrive co-organiser Emma Dagg says the event is to bring the joy of dance to as many people as possible and to encourage them to learn and take part in modern jive.
Yeah, we teach modern jive, which is basically probably the easiest partner dance to learn. It's walking to music. And the lovely thing is you can dance to anything pretty much.
They say with the event's success, they hope to bring the weekend of partner dancing back to Queenstown in 2024. And for those who just can't get enough of the easy-to-learn dances, Emma Dagg also runs weekly modern jive classes in Te Ata Mera. In Queenstown, the South Today.
If you walked into Otago University's botany department, you may be surprised to find hundreds of black jelly beans on a desk. But they're not actually jelly beans at all. They're small balls which combine biology and technology with the goal of restoring native forests.
They may look like wine gums, but these clay balls are actually filled with kahikatea and totara seeds. Researchers from Otago University are on a mission to restore native tree populations in New Zealand using these tiny seed pods. They are collaborating with the Ministry for the Environment, Department of Conservation and Envico Technologies, a company developing seed dispersing drones.
It's really difficult to get into rugged parts of the country. Drone technology gives us this wonderful opportunity to fly drones into inaccessible areas and drop seeds.
But Botany Associate Professor Janice Lord says seeds alone would just fly away, so tasked her postgrad students with finding the perfect ratio of clay and organic matter for a protective pod. She says dispersing the seed pods would help convert unproductive land into native forest. It also has the potential to restore landslips caused by flooding.
The slip needs to have stopped moving first. You know, that's one of the major problems with all of the devastation up north, that some of those slips are still moving. But just getting something on it to start stabilising those topsoil layers is really, really important.
Southland's Waituna Lagoon is one of a number of field test sites being used for the seed pods, the team hoping to play a role in establishing diverse native forests to help restore the country's ecosystem. In Dunedin, the South Today.
That wraps up this edition of Southern Newsweek. For the latest news and videos from the Southern region, head online to odt.co.nz and you can follow Channel 39 on YouTube and the South Today NZ on Facebook to catch our news bulletins on demand. We'll see you again next week. Mā te wā.
Public interest journalism funded through New Zealand On Air.